Hi, Justin. Thanks for joining me today to talk about the RRSPs. Are they working for you? I've had many questions, and for for you and I to have a conversation with somebody that's not a investor or have had RSPs before, it's my hope that we'll be able to have a conversation about it, just on a level of with somebody that's got little financial background, so that there's going to be a bigger understanding.
Sounds good, Kathy. Thank you for having me on today. And I do have very little understanding of the financial background regarding RRSPs, so I'm excited to get started.
Awesome, let's do it. So I just want to be able to tell you a little bit about myself. There are some of the accomplishments that I've been able to do so far, and one of the biggest things that I'm pretty proud of is being able to acquire 21 rental doors in 24 months. All of these rental doors I still own and manage today, and I'm also pretty proud of the fact that I've had 100% success in returning investor money, so I've never lost a dime of any investors' money at all. So I've been able to get people's RSP monies working for them in a positive manner, as well as being able to joint venture with other people so that I am able to get them out of the rat race and for them to either be on their way to being financial free, or there are investors that I've worked with who have now reached their financial freedom as well. And I'm pretty proud that at the end of September 2016, I have published my first book.
Yeah, so I see that there's a bunch more information regarding this topic to be found in your book, and like you said, you just published it. So I think right now, as of October, looks like there's a 50% off deal if anyone is curious about real estate investing made simple. That seems like a good way to learn.
Absolutely. That's one of the first things to do is to be able to start learning about how to invest in real estate. And this book is really good because it does start from the absolute beginner, and then it goes through the different levels. There's all the way up to wholesaling or putting properties under contract, and it goes into like a further definition also of the different types of real estate, such as commercial real estate. So it's a very good book on very elementary beginnings to all of the way to more advanced investing techniques. So I'm pretty proud of this first book.
Sounds good.
So Justin, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you?
Sounds good. So my name is Justin Long. I'm a freelance writer and a counseling student living in Vancouver, working on being a psychologist. So you can see that my background has very little to do with finance. I know almost nothing about the financial systems or banking systems or investing in general. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about this topic to help secure myself financially in the future.
And darn, you're awfully cute too, being my son.
I'll try and be humble about it. All right.
Now, why we're doing the webinar today is to why consider RSP mortgages. So retirement is one of the biggest concerns of most of the people, most individuals that I meet. I mean, with the cost of living, everything on the rise, and even in Alberta right now with our current recession, the stretching of the dollar is getting harder and harder these days. So when somebody does invest in an RSP instrument of some kind, usually they are trained by our banks that is the only place really to be able to invest your money. And this is absolutely not true, so that's why we're going to be talking about the RSP mortgages and what the advantage is once you invest into an RSP mortgage. There are a lot of things that happen when you invest with a mutual fund that is with one of the banks or with a financial advisor, and that could be there could be impending things that are with the stock market. So one day you can have $50,000 in your bank, and there has been times where there's been the Black Friday where it started out with 50,000 in the morning, and by the evening on Black Friday, the stocks had gone down by 50%. So you just have no way to be able to control that once you place your money into a mutual fund with the banks. It goes up and down all of the time, and you're a slave to what the market is currently doing. There's just no way that you can change it. It's sliding up and down on things that are out of your control.
Sounds good. So it sounds like RSPs are not protected against something like the 2008 housing crisis crash. Is that what you were referring to?
Well, that, and there also was a Black Friday crash that happened before 2008, and it's not that the RSP, it's a totally different instrument, and that's where a lot of people get confused between an RSP and a mutual fund. So an RSP is set up by our Canadian government, and it's an account for holding savings, investment assets, so that you can hold them within stocks, bonds, mutual funds, GICs, and even mortgage-backed equities. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this webinar. So most people don't know about the RSP mortgages that we're going to be talking about. So there are other alternatives other than just going to your financial advisor and watching a lot of the mutual funds go down in value. Investing in an RSP mortgage, like we're talking about today, Justin, is another option. So investing in mutual funds with your bank is not your only option that's out there.
Sounds good.
So RSPs, like I said, from our government, give us the opportunity to be able to get a tax credit, and hopefully in the future you'll be able to take the RSP out when you're making less money. So that's kind of the overall view of why somebody would want to invest in an RSP. Now, I'm not an accountant. I never want to be, and that's part of the disclaimer. Everybody should go and should be working with an accountant, with somebody that has their vested interest at hand, because everybody's situation is different. But on the whole, if you're investing in an RSP, they also include like TFSAs, which the government gives us a fabulous opportunity to do a tax-free savings account. That's what the TFSA stands for. Okay. So everybody, in my opinion, should be able to maximize that to the fullest degree in order for all of the money within that account to be pulled out tax-free. Any interest, any value that it grows by, that is tax-free. So every Canadian that isn't taking advantage of that let's turn that around. Every Canadian, I think, should be looking into taking full advantage of the TFSA. And just some other RSPs, when we're talking about RSPs for this webinar, they could include the TFSAs, the RIFs, the LIRAs, registered investment savings plans for children's education. They are all under the RSP umbrella. So investing in your RSPs, well, the different names can be a little bit different. That's what we're going to be referring to in the webinar today.
Okay, so in general, an RRSP can be many different types of investment assets, But in
Right, but
a
what the RRSP stands for is a Registered Retirement Savings Plan, and there's many different forms underneath that. So exactly. But when we talk about RSPs, that's what we're talking about today. It's a registered instrument with the government in a special account so that you get a tax break on it of some sort.
okay, okay. And next slide.
So we're talking a little bit earlier today about the mutual funds, and they go up and down. So one day the Dow is up, the next day the S&P is down. They're going up and down constantly. So when you're putting your mutual fund into one of these, they go up and down as well. They fluctuate, and we'll also be talking within a few minutes here, Justin, of the other expenses that also make your mutual fund returns go up and down.
Okay. So why do we actually need them then? Like, what does an RRSP provide you? Like, why would you want it to do one?
Well, like I had said just a couple of minutes ago, what an RSP does is the Canadian government has allowed a tax break.
Hmm.
So based on your current earnings, you can open up an RSP and it can be used as a credit against the money that you've made within a certain year.
Okay. So the money
So
that you
you
put into
pay less tax.
okay. So like the money that you put into an RRSP counts against your total income taxes that you would pay that year. So you pay less taxes.
Basically, like in a whole overview look, yes.
Okay.
I'm not an accountant, but that's my basic view and understanding that it is used as a credit against the income that you've made so that you get to pay less tax. It's just deferred. You will pay tax on that money at some time in the future when you go to pull it out, but right now it's a deferred tax plan is what an RSP is.
Okay.
So from the big banks, one of the reasons why I want to educate more and more people about RSP mortgages is the big banks' profits for 2015, and from what I can see, it's going to be mirrored for most of 2016 as well. For all of the big banks, they made a profit of almost $35 billion. So when they talk about their different trademarks of their big comfy green couch, and they've done a very good marketing job of making you believe that this is the only place that you can, once you choose to do an RSP for a tax break, of where you can invest it. And this is why we're doing this today, is to let other people know that instead of going to your traditional big banks for what they've made $35 billion profit on, there are other ways to go. And that's why they've made such a big profit, is some of the things that we're going to be going into here just in the next slides. It's a very, very profitable business, and we're going to go into just a few reasons why it is so profitable for the big banks. So what happens when your mutual funds go into the big banks? They have different phrases for them, and some of them could be churning. They have front-end load fees, back-end load fees. There's different market timings where they sell your stock or your mutual fund one day and it goes into another one. So they sometimes depends on what kind of account you have with them. They can charge you for all of these actions that they take. There's different trailer fees, there's maintenance fees, and there's something that's called a management expense rate, an MER. And the MER for Canada is one of the highest rates of over 2.5 to 2.9%. And that's one of the highest rates in all of the world. And us Canadians, because we're so cheerful and happy, it seems that we don't complain a lot. And from what I have found in comparison with other countries and a lot of the different mutual funds, they do have very high rate of management expense rates. So you pay all of these fees whether or not your mutual fund is making any money, and it comes off of the top. So that's how the big banks are making a total profit of $35 billion within a year, and it's through a lot of these fees that are on this slide right here.
Interesting. And these are things that they don't usually talk about too, I would imagine.
No, they don't. When they introduce a lot of these funds, like they'll say that there's no cost to you, there's just the back end load or the front end load, and if they talk about like a 2.5% management fee, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you add that to every time that they switch over your fund or the yearly fee of 2.5% coming off the top every year, that accumulates into a lot of money over the year, and that gets taken off the top. Like I said, even if your mutual fund does not make a profit that year or that time period, whenever they report out to you, they get their money first, and then whatever is happening inside your fund, whether or not you make money, that happens secondarily. So that takes a big slice off the top of the money that is made inside your RSP. That's why a lot of people they may lose inside that one period in their mutual fund, but those expenses come out of that as well.
Okay.
What I'd like to, a lot of people that I talk to over the last little while will tell me, oh yeah, well my mutual fund or my bank is telling me that I'm making between 7, 10, even 12%. So what I ask them to do is just take a look at the date that they started to invest their RSPs with the bank or their financial advisor, and just take a look at the chart that we've got up there. At 4%, if that's what you would be earning on your money, say if you put in $10,000, it would take 18 years before your money would double. That's if you're receiving 4%. So if you're losing money, you're not even getting your 4%, of course, on your money. You would be losing money, and it would take even longer than the 18 years. That's another problem with when it goes up and down. It takes a long time to get back, if you're losing money, to get back even where you were. So having something that is going into your account consistently every month, it helps to not only so that you're not losing any money, you're consistently gaining money put into your account month after month.
Yeah, I imagine that helps with the compounding effect quite a bit because, like you said, as soon as you start losing money, you lose a great deal in the compound because it doesn't carry over the next month as well.
Right. So you're in a catch-up position just to get back where you were. So even if you are making a little bit more that month, you're still trying to catch up from your last period. So it really takes a long time. Like you said, Justin, with the compound interest, if you're not doing the consistent returns into your account every month, you're playing catch up, and it takes a long time to get caught up sometimes. So let's start talking about our RSP mortgages and what they would look like. So that's what I always ask people to do, is just get informed. Take a look at those statements that I know in the past when I've held them, because now I've converted all of them and I no longer have any RSPs through a fund. I tried a financial advisor and I tried the banks and I tried different banks, and they all just did the same thing. When they all advised me to switch to another account, and because that account was doing well, and by the time I switched over to the other account, it didn't perform very well. And again, by switching it eroded. They took out more fees, and I just seemed to be going backwards. That little bit that I had in an RSP at one time that was being held with the bank, it did absolutely nothing for years and years and years until I learned this technique and being able to invest and get safe, secure returns month after month. So when we set up an RSP mortgage, there are no management fees. I don't charge any kind of MERs, nothing like that. There's no fees to be able to set it up. As a matter of fact, when we start out, I pay for all of the costs of preparing the mortgage, of all of the lawyer costs, which we'll get into in a minute, because the lawyer ensures that your mortgage that gets registered on one of my properties is properly secured. That is going to be your security, and you, in essentially, become the bank. That's why it's it is. I can say that it's a secure return because it is secured against real estate. Whereas when you own a mutual fund, it's floating up and down, and it's not secured against anything. That can be lost totally. When it's a secured mortgage against a property, that total is registered against a piece of property, and that is your security. Currently, I am paying a 6% simple interest annual return on every mortgage. Like I said, it's secured by real estate. A lawyer prepares a mortgage on your behalf, and it gets registered just like any other kind of mortgage from one of the banks. It gets secured against a piece of title, a piece of property that is owned by me. There's absolutely hands-off investing for my investors. You don't have to worry about any tenant calls, anything like that. What you do is you, in effect, become the bank, and the bank doesn't take tenant calls. They don't do anything like that. You just you get the mortgage registered, and we have monthly payments set up going into your account. That's all that is required of you with an RSP mortgage. So it is safe because it is a registered instrument on the back of a title against a piece of real estate, and the returns are paid monthly to you, and it gets put right back into your RRSP account.
Cool.
And the really nice thing about RSP mortgages is they are not complicated at all. So you and I would have a simple discussion about setting the terms of the mortgage. So for a very simple example, generally most of the mortgages are for a 3-year term, and I'm paying 6% annual interest. And that's broken up into monthly payments, like I said, that gets deposited directly into your RSP account. If it's an RSP, if it's cash, you would be receiving the cash funds into your account, whatever account you want it to be set up to. The first step would be to set up terms of the mortgage. The second one is we would set up the self-directed plan with the trustee. And there are 2 trustees that I currently use, and that's Pacific Western and Olympia Trust. So you would set up your account, and the trustee is set up to be working for you. So they would send out what they're doing is they're looking out for you. They make sure that your RSP is protected. That's their job. So they would know that. They would instruct the lawyer, and they would make sure that your RSP is secured against the title properly. They ensure that the payments are going into your account every month. They're the ones that are set up to ensure that all of these things are being done on your behalf. And then number 3, you just automatically receive the monthly payments. That's really how simple the RSP mortgages are to put into place.
That does seem like pretty easy.
Absolutely it is, and it's like I said, it's a great alternative. I don't know why anybody would want to go into a mutual fund where it goes up and down, and you do pay expensive management expense ratios, plus those other backload fees and other fees that are taken out from your RSP fund at all. So I just want to take a couple of minutes just to, again, go over the hands-off and that it is an absolute positive investing experience. There are some of your financial advisors and some people that aren't educated that will say that this is not a legal way to invest your RSPs. It's just that it's not a very known way to invest your RSPs, and that's what this webinar is all about, is being able to educate more and more people that absolutely it is legal, and of course they don't want to lose your money. That's why, and they certainly won't advertise anything like that. So absolutely, you can ask me any questions. It can get you through to trustees so that you can do your own due diligence. You know that this is a safe, secure way to invest and get your RSP working for you.
Sounds good. And I see that you can either be contacted by phone or by email there at the bottom of the page, as well as by a website.
Absolutely, yes. So the very simple way is the RSP investment is registered as a mortgage against a property that I own, and you become the bank. So we all know how the banks make that $35 billion that's been reported a year, and a good portion of that is through the mutual funds, and of course the interest that is paid on mortgages. So why would you not want to get in on some of the action and yourself become the bank essentially?
Yeah,
And absolutely, I'm happy to answer all of your questions. Like I said, for a lot of people, I believe that this way of investing is a new concept. So you can reach me at 587-318-6161, or you can certainly email me at klongrentals@gmail.com, or you can visit my website, and all three of those are shown up on the screen as well right now. I also have some testimonials. Like I have said, I have a 100% track record of returning positive cash flow to my investors, and I've got a couple of testimonials. They also are on my website if you wanted to check it out, and you should be doing some due diligence on anybody that you go into an investment with. So I'm happy for you to go and check out my website or to have a conversation. I want you to be absolutely secure in where your RSP money is going to be invested in. So Justin, do you have any questions? Do you have a firmer concept of how an RSP mortgage works after our talk today?
Yeah, I have to say that I do, and like you highlighted earlier, it's not something that I had ever heard about. I mean, I'm by no means an expert in RRSPs in general, but I certainly learned a great deal about the different types of RRSPs and this relatively new way of investing and sort of leveraging against real estate instead of trying to rely on governmental or banking institutions to get you that money, which seems like it's kind of inconsistent, both with like the rate of return and the hidden costs. So I think I learned a lot.
Oh, good. Okay. And absolutely, if somebody else has any questions, please contact me and check out the website as well for further information that's in my book. There's a couple of chapters that go into a lot of the description of how the RSP investment works as well, the RSP mortgage investment works. So there's always that option too if you want to pick up my book and have a read of real estate investing made simple, and also the concept a little bit further of the RSP mortgages. So Justin, I want to thank you very much for your time today in going over the presentation with me, and I want to, I'm glad that I was able to give you a little bit of an outline of how an RSP mortgage works.